What's up, guys? It is Nate again here with Mud Digger Off-Road. We're going to bring you a quick video here doing a factory LED taillight replacement for the 2017 to 2020 Ford F-150s with the, once again, the factory LED taillights with the BLIS system or the blind spot monitoring system. It is going to be a little bit different than your not BLIS module trucks. But for the most part, the process is going to be the same. And we are using the Morimoto XB series taillights, once again, including that BLIS module. So you're going to have the two 8mm screws on the inside. Just let the tailgate down to get to those. And then you're going to have two pops pull straight out on them. And that's going to release the taillight. And you're going to have one electrical connection on the LED taillights. If you are a base model truck, your XLs or XLTs without the LED package, you're going to have a, more of a traditional bulb, and you're going to have two or more connections there on the back side. Once you get that tail light out, the first thing you're going to want to do is you're going to see a big electrical box. It's kind of a rectangular shape. That's going to be your BLIS module backplate. There's going to be a few screws holding that guy in, so go ahead and get those pulled out because you're going to have to swap over the BLIS module to the new taillights. The new Morimoto lights do not come with a replacement module. Be careful not to break this BLIS module. It is not anywhere close to cheap. I want to say they're about $350 to replace, and they will require a program. So you get those screws pulled out, go ahead and pull that BLIS module out of the taillight housing. There is a rubber gasket around it, so it might be kind of stuck in there. Just once again, be careful with it. And you are going to have an electrical connection to the actual taillight housing itself, connecting that between the housing and the BLIS module. Go ahead and do a quick inspection on it. Make sure everything's in good shape. You're going to be looking for any cracks, water damage, any heat marks, anything crazy like that. Once again, we're going to be doing the Morimoto XB LED tails. Go ahead and get those guys unboxed. Same thing, you always want to do an inspection on it. Make sure everything's in good shape, no shipping damage, no cracks, anything like that. And then go ahead and familiarize yourself with everything in the packages. And we always like to set them side by side with the factory tail in the cardboard that it comes with to keep both tail lights from getting scratched up, damaged, anything like that. You're going to go ahead and have a block off plate on the Morimoto tail. You're going to have to remove that. It's going to be identical to the block off plate that your BLIS module was in on the factory tail. So go ahead and pop those screws out and remove that plate because we're going to start the process of swapping over the BLIS module into the new replacement tail. Once you get both of those plates removed, go ahead and separate the black box, which is the BLIS module itself, from the factory aluminum backing plate. Once you've got the BLIS module separated from the factory backing plate, go ahead and use some electrical or dielectric grease on both of those connections, and you will have to plug in the BLIS module to the new Morimoto tail before you put it on the new aluminum backing plate. Otherwise, you're not going to be able to get in there and do the proper connection. Go ahead and get the BLIS module plugged in and then slide the aluminum backing plate up under it and get those screws started, and go ahead and secure the screws from the BLIS module to the backing plate. Get those guys tightened down and then flip it over and bolt it into the replacement housing. One thing to note when you are flipping it over and putting it into the new replacement housing, once again, you do have that rubber gasket around the edge of that housing there. You really want to make sure that that does not kink, fold, or basically have any sort of imperfections or deformations. Otherwise, you will end up with a water leak, and water in these BLIS modules is a no-go. Once again, if they get water damage, they are not cheap to replace, so you're going to want to take some extra caution here to make sure we get that gasket in there correctly. And once we get those 4 bolts tightened down for that backing plate, again, we're going to use the electrical grease or the dielectric grease on both connections. This just helps prevent corrosion on those electrical pins and helps for a problem-free future with any electrical connections, especially on main harnesses like this one. In our case here, one of the plastic snaps that does snap the taillight to the actual bed of the truck did come off with the taillight. This is kind of uncommon, but it does happen. You're just going to want to take some precaution and get that removed from the taillight and push that back into the bed of the truck, because we are going to need that to secure the new tail. Go ahead and pull the plastic. Always leave the plastic on the taillights when you're working on them. It just kind of helps prevent any scratches, any damage while you're actually swapping everything over. Pull that plastic off, and you're going to want to use the 1 electrical plug on the LED trucks or the 2 or 3 electrical plugs on the non-LED trucks. Get that connected and then line up those 2 plastic snaps and you're just going to use kind of a quick push motion and get those guys snapped in. You will know if it's not snapped in correctly because the 2 bolt holes on the bed in the tailgate latch area are not going to be lined up. If those don't line up, there's a chance that your snaps aren't lined up correctly or they're not pushed in all the way altogether. And the final step here is go ahead and put those 2 8mm back into the bed, and you'll see the holes line up in the taillight housing. You don't want to kill any of these bolts, whether that be swapping the BLIS module over or securing the taillights to the bed. Just a nice snug fit. They are easy to strip out and break, so be really careful when you're tightening these down. And that's just about it for the driver's side install. Go ahead and turn the lights on, make sure everything's working as it should. We always do one at a time just to make sure the correct lights are lighting up on the new taillight compared to the factory taillight on the other side. On a single connection taillight, it's really hard to mess this up, but it is possible sometimes on the older trucks if they've got similar connections or similar type plugs. Just want to make sure we're going through. We use the hazards here so the truck doesn't have to be on to use the turn signal. Functions the same way as a turn signal would. And everything's working as it should, so you can go ahead and shut everything down.